Okay, everybody, I got a story for you. I want to know what you think about this. So imagine you tear your ACL playing basketball. Oh, so painful, right? I heard that's like one of the most painful injuries you can get in sports. Don't know if that's true or not. Okay, you go to the doctor and they hand you a pair of crutches. Okay, so those crutches, pretty important, right? Because what are they going to do? They protect your knee from further damage. They're going to help you get around so you can stay mobile through that experience. But let's say 6 months later, you're still walking around on the crutches. Something's wrong, right? Healing hasn't happened. Why? Because the crutches weren't meant to heal your knee. They were meant to support you where you did that deeper level of work while you went to rehab. And I think we've accidentally done the same thing with accountability. We created a place where there is accountability, but thinking that's what's actually going to change us, right? And it's not true because it's one of the most important tools of recovery, but it was never meant to do like all the work. So if all we did was get crutches and nothing else, eh, that's what we need to talk about today. Welcome to Beyond the Facade. I'm your host, Luke Gordon, Men's Program Director at Choose Recovery Services and founder of the Blueprint Institute. For years, I've had the privilege of working with men who are tired of living behind masks, tired of repeating the same patterns, and ready for something more. It's work that's deeply personal to me because my own recovery journey has taught me firsthand both the challenges and the rewards of pursuing authenticity. This podcast exists to help men build lives rooted in authenticity, integrity, and meaningful connection. Together, we're going to explore recovery, relationships, emotional health, and personal growth, and the challenges that keep us from becoming who we truly want to be. Through honest conversations, practical tools, and real-world insights, and occasional stories from my own journey, my goal is to help you better understand yourself, strengthen your relationships, and create lasting change. So whether this is your first episode, or you've been with us from the very beginning, you're joining a community of men committed to doing the deeper work. So welcome to Beyond the Facade. Let's get started. All right, everybody. So let's talk about what is accountability. All right. So let's define the three aspects of it. Three simple words. Ownership. Okay. This is what happened. I own reality. I'm not minimizing. I'm not blaming. I'm not making excuses. All right. And then transparency. I let other people see that reality. Okay. I break the secrecy. I invite in people to support me through that process. I stay connected to my community, right? I don't run. I don't hide. And then third part's responsibility. So now it's that part. We talk about game tape all the time at Choose and at Blueprint. Now what? Now we learn. Now we repair. Now we practice something different. I watched what happened. This is what happened. This is what led up to it. This is what I'm going to do moving forward. I keep moving forward. So, hey, accountability, it's owning reality, allowing it to be seen and taking responsibility for what comes next. Okay. So it does some things really well, right? It helps us break secrecy, helps us stay connected to the people that we love. We build integrity through it. We invite support. And these things matter. And I don't ever want to minimize accountability. But here's the deal. This is where accountability stops. Okay. So let's go back to that ACL injury. So just because I have the crutches and just because I'm accountability, that doesn't mean I'm going to heal the shame. It doesn't mean I'm going to start to process grief. Please recognize that. It doesn't mean my system is going to get regulated, okay? It doesn't mean I'm going to heal attachment wounds. So those wounds that have been around since childhood or for whatever length of time they are. It doesn't mean my parts are going to integrate. It doesn't mean that part of me that wants to act out and that part of me hates me for acting out. It doesn't mean that they're going to integrate and I'm going to become whole. It doesn't help me emotionally mature, okay? So accountability, it does support recovery. It isn't the thing that transforms you. Right? So I just want to recognize that right now today, whether this is a shorter podcast or a longer one, that's where accountability stops. All right. So it can feel really good if you're a betrayed partner and you're getting some accountability, you're getting some ownership, you're hearing about it, you're hearing some transparency, you're getting some responsibility. But let's not confuse that with the change actually going to happen. It will just set you up for changing. So it'll set you up for the deeper level of work. And this is what Blueprint and Choose Recovery Services was created for. It does create a place where there is accountability. It does include that, but it also includes some other things. It includes physical therapy. Okay. I'm coming back to my analogy, right? It includes that deeper level of work, not just the crutches, right? It helps the nervous system start to work again in healthier, not maladaptive ways. And how does that happen? We emotionally develop through experiential exercises, through not running from my pain, actually sitting and noticing. I'll use an example what that looks like. Okay, so let's picture a cold plunge. This is one of my favorite things to take guys through. Favorite thing ever. If you go back to Dr. Lemke, you've heard me talk about it maybe many times. We talk about the pain and pleasure being located in the same part of the brain, and addiction is oversaturated with dopamine. Like I just can't feel like every time pain hits, I try to introduce pleasure. And that's how I deal with my pain, is just compounding more and more pleasure to now I can't actually feel pleasure anymore. And I'm just using it to deal with pain. Deeper level of work expands my window of tolerance. It expands the level of pain that I can not, that actually doesn't have me running for the hills. It doesn't have me walling off, shutting down. It expands to where I can think and feel at the same time. So I think about the guys that come to Blueprint for a few weeks. They are here and we're doing a tons of experiential exercises. And in a cold plunge is just one of many examples. It matters when I enter a cold plunge, whether I'm connected to my why or not, what purpose I'm doing it, how connected I am to myself before I sit in that water. As I sit in that water, my nervous system takes over and it says, don't do this. You can't do this. It's going to hurt you, right? Like this is pain. Pain's bad. I breathe through that. I connect to myself through that. I go, oh, this pain isn't going to kill me. I have to regulate, right? And through healthy ways, through eye contact with somebody else, through breathing with myself, by noticing what's around me. So it really matters how I go into the water, and it matters how I leave the water. So was able to regulate in that experience, was able to stay connected to myself, was able to, my thoughts and feelings exist at the same time, stay connected to my why. When I leave that, didn't leave the water because I was running from it, right? Oh, wow, there's some power here. I feel emotional just saying this, but I didn't run from the water. I didn't leave it. I didn't book it out of there. I connected to myself through that experience. My window of tolerance, it expanded. So just notice this. Like I wanted to just frame up here for a second. If you have accountability, great job. Fantastic. It's a part of recovery. It doesn't change our system. Okay. It just provides an ability for us to be able to now lean into that deeper level of work. So if you've been relying on accountability and wondering why you still feel stuck, like thinking accountability is failing you, like you're doing all the things, maybe you've been asking it to do something that was never designed to do. Okay. So keep the accountability, right? Keep that support, but don't stop there. Healing has to happen by attending to that deeper level of work inside of me, by expanding that window of tolerance. So, anyway, if you have questions on this, please ask them. We so much value you guys going, hey, what about this? What about that? Let's talk about this at a deeper level, and we'll get into the next level next time. All right, everybody, take care. Hey, so let's talk about our Reclaimed Intensive coming up. I know we have some buzz around it, and I'm hoping we get to see you there, but let me tell you what it's about. Have you ever felt like a part of you genuinely wants recovery while another part of you keeps sabotaging it? Where one part wants like connection and another part wants escape? Where one part wants honesty and another part wants to hide? And let me give you one more. Where one part wants to be present with your kids, your partner, and your life, but another part of you wants to numb out, wants to check out, wants to disappear altogether. Many men spend years fighting this internal battle without even understanding what's actually happening beneath the surface. The truth is you're not broken, you're not crazy, and you're not fighting against yourself by accident. You're carrying a system of parts that were developed for a reason. That's why we created the Reclaimed Intensive. So Reclaimed is a 4-day men's intensive built around internal family systems and parts work and other various tools of recovery. So together we want to identify these different parts of you, and we want to understand the wounds and what they're protecting and how to be led through your internal systems so you can find some clarity and confidence and self-energy that you haven't had before. Because this isn't about trying harder. It's about understanding what's happening inside of you. So if you're struggling and you want to move beyond managing some of the systems and start addressing it, please join us from August 18th to the 21st in Spanish Fork, Utah. So go ahead and visit chooserecoveryservices.com, go to the intensive section, and it's the reclaimed incentives. And even if you want to schedule a consultation, we can talk about it more. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Beyond the Facade. If today's conversation resonates with you, I encourage you to explore the resources available through Choose Recovery Services and Blueprint Institute. Beyond the Facade is presented through a collaboration between these two organizations, both of which are committed to helping men and families find lasting healing, growth, and recovery. Through coaching, therapy, groups, intensives, and immersive recovery experiences, our mission is to help people move beyond survival and into lives marked by authenticity, connection, and integrity. You'll find links to both organizations along with any resources mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. Until next time, keep pursuing authenticity, keep doing the work, and keep moving beyond the facade.